Here. We are live. We're not going live. We are live. Phew. Building an audience. I don't know, guys. It gets redundant. I keep saying that every day. But what else are you going to do when no one's on? It's a Saturday morning, 11:30. Snowing here in Buffalo, which is sweet. Got one people on, two people. I'm hoping we have a little bit of a decent crowd here, seeing that it's a Saturday. We had 4, just went down to 2. It's not showing me that anyone's on. But we're going to wait for some people to jump on board before we get into it. We got 3 people. Jay Ringo, my man, he's live. He's on. How we doing, sir? Megan, thanks for coming on. We got 2 people, back to 2 people. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to wait for about 5 people on to really get into the last, it's the last chapter we're going to go over. It's not the final chapter in the book. There's actually a chapter 16, but you've got to buy the book in order to see that. My man, DJ Angelo Petrucci, who will be discussing as we work through the final chapter, and we got 4 people on. It's Saturday. True Chown. I would think that we can get a few more than 4 on. So anyone that might be watching, one of the 3 people that are on here, if you would do so, you can feel free to share this out. Maybe you don't want to. It's up to you. I would appreciate it. So, guys, and we're back down to 2. No one is sticking around. That's great. 3 people. We want to get up to 5 before I get into actually the final chapter. We've got 4 people on. I think Facebook is a little slow in terms of showing you kind of who's on. But we've got 5 people on, so we're going to get rolling, guys. Thank you, everyone that is watching. If you're watching live, if you're watching the recorded version, I really appreciate everyone coming on. It's definitely greatly appreciated. Everyone's support, everyone's shares. I appreciate every single one of them. So, Marguerite, thanks for coming on board. Again, anyone that would like and feel so compelled to share it, it is appreciated. The idea behind the motivation that I do in the mornings is to try and help people get their day going, get it off on the right foot, maybe switch up from a bad mood to a good mood, whatever it is. However, the last few weeks have been about my book, or my first published book that's coming out hopefully at the end of this month, but at the latest, the first week in April. And I wanted just to give everyone an idea of what it is, what the book's about, and why you might want to purchase it. And so we've gone through from starting in chapter 1 all the way through today. We're going to discuss the last chapter, chapter 15. There's a final chapter, kind of an in conclusion chapter that let's face it, just if you buy the book, you can read it. We're not going to get into that here. We're going to talk about the final song, because this is the final part. The whole idea and concept behind the book is the book's title is Find Your Playlist, and the idea behind it is that of how I used music to kind of help me navigate through some difficult times, how I used music in my life to help me see what it is I should be doing, how I used music to help me. Hey, what's going on, Victor? Thank you. But anyway, I want to give a shout out to you. But the idea is that how music helped me, and how music, maybe it can help you. Maybe you've been depressed. Maybe you are depressed. Maybe you've thought about not being here anymore. And it's not that I don't want to use the word, but maybe you know someone that you've lost to suicide, or you know someone who you think might be at that point. Or maybe just know somebody that's just struggling in life and struggling to come to grips with certain aspects, or life being unfair or cruel to them. And I know a number of people currently in my life who, life doesn't seem to be fair right now. And the news is life isn't fair, and it can suck at times. And that's kind of where I was. And the book is about how I used music, and I found my playlist to kind of get me through those times, to help keep pushing me through. And it was a reflective state of mind. Each chapter is a song title that in the song, and it's actually in that order in my playlist. And the idea is for you to find your playlist. Find your playlist, and interchangeable word you can use there is find your passion. Find your why. Why are you here? What are you supposed to be doing? And what does it all mean? Are we just supposed to be here, work, retire, maybe retire, and then die? And I just don't think that is what we're supposed to be doing here. I don't think it's that, I guess, shitty of an existence. I think we're meant to really experience life and live it. We're meant to find out what it is that we're good at and help people along the way. And so that's what the music did for me. It helped me figure out what my why was. I found my playlist. I started realizing what my purpose was, and I started working toward it. So that's the general gist of the book in probably drawn out detail. But the chapter leading up into chapter 15, yesterday's chapter was What We're Living For, which is a song by Paul Van Dyk. It is a trance anthem. It's one that was a late addition to my playlist, but it just really, it was a must for me to do that. And in the song, very few words in the song. And in there he says, if we're always looking back, then we'll never know. If you're always looking back, then you'll never know. And what does that mean? It means if you're always looking at your past, if you're always focusing on your past, if you're always focusing or going back to the things that you did in life, or the things that you might like to regret, or the things that maybe you just can't seem to get out of your mind, if you're constantly going back to those things, then you'll never know what you're living for. The song title is What We're Living For. Eric asked me what the song title was yesterday, and that was What We're Living For. It's a Paul Van Dyk. No problem, Eric. It's a Paul Van Dyk song. My music, if you've been following me, really is range. It's a very wide scope of music that I like, that means a lot to me, and the songs are accordingly. The chapters are accordingly. You go from rock and to rap to trance to the Goo Goo Dolls. So I really cross a bunch of different genres of music, but it's what helped me get to where I needed to be. So and this song that I heard, again, it was a late addition to my playlist. It wasn't in the 3 to 5 month, or roughly about 3 to 5 month period where I was really in a reflective state of mind, where the majority of the songs of the playlist were developed and put together. This was a late addition, but I forgot about it. But when I heard it, I said, this is it. This is the one thing that I needed to do in order to move forward in life, is I needed to put my past behind me. I needed to not completely forget about it, but I couldn't continue to relive it. And yesterday I talked and I likened it to, our journey on life. This is our journey. This is our road to life, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, if it's life after death, if it's heaven, whatever it might be, that's our end result, that's our destination. This is the road trip we're on. And if we're always looking back, if we're always looking in that rear view mirror, if we're always looking behind us, you can't possibly go forward. And that's what I was doing. I was continuing to let every failure and disappointment that I had built up, and they're, again, as I've talked about in the book, they're my own failures. It was my own fault. But I couldn't let them go. I couldn't let it rest. I couldn't let my past be what it was. I wasn't able to let go and let God. You've heard that saying before, but I wasn't able to do that, and a lot of us aren't, for one reason or another. And my advice and my challenge to you is to just put it behind you. If you wouldn't do it today, then quit convicting yourself for something you won't even do today. It's done. It's over with. And I needed to put some of those things behind me and just move forward in life. Again, the song is very simple. There's, I think, 3 lines in the whole song. But the message is about as powerful as it gets. If you're always looking behind you, if you're always reliving your past, it is impossible to move forward. In fact, you can't even live in the present when you're constantly looking behind you. And that's what I was doing. And I wasn't able to do, I wasn't able to really focus on the path that I wanted to go in. I wasn't able to think about my future, because the only thing that occupied my mind was all the negative, all the failure, all the disappointments, all the despair, all that, and that just really was just at the forefront. So when people and family members and friends and everyone tried to tell me how good I was or how good I was at certain things or how I had done this or that for them, or how there was so much that I had already overcome, I wasn't able to see it. And I wasn't able to see it because technically I really didn't want to see it. I was just focusing on the negative. And I think a lot of us, if we've got a checkered past, or if we've made some changes in our lives, and for some of us it might be hard to put certain aspects of our life behind us and put them to bed, but that's what we have to do. And that's what yesterday's chapter was. That's what chapter 14 was about. Chapter 15, however, today's chapter is, I think, really culminates the entire message behind the book. And it's a song for me that I grew up in my high school years, college. I was going to raves. I was a huge fan of trance music before it was popular, before anyone liked it. And DJ Tiesto is one of the most instrumental artists in my life thus far. His music would literally take you on a journey, and his the album of the same title, Just Be, the song for chapter 15 is Just Be. And the song, and I'm going to go through the lyrics in it because I think it's Nate, what's going on, my man? So Nate is a also a transformation coach with me at Body and Soul. Great to have you on, Nate. Again, chapter 15 is DJ Tiesto's Just Be lyrics, and the song, and again, every song in my playlist I felt was written for me. And you when you get your songs, when you develop your playlist, when you find your playlist in life, I think you'll feel the same way, that you feel like this song was written for me, whatever it is you might be going through in life. So in the beginning, it just says, I'm lost, and I'm still lost, but I feel so much better. And that kind of really exemplifies where I was not too long ago, and that while I was still getting out of it, I still felt lost. I still wasn't necessarily sure, but I feel so much better. Am I where I wanted to be when I left my career behind me? No, I'm not, but I do. I feel so much better. I found my playlist. I realized what it is that I want to do in life, and that's to make a difference in people's lives, one way or another. All of our playlists are going to be different. All of our purposes are different. But, and it could be, Eric, it could be Disney tracks, whatever you want it to be. A Whole New World, whatever, Aladdin. And in there, and some of the words in here will relate to different chapters. It says you can travel the world, and the woman's voice is beautiful. If you haven't heard Just Be, I recommend downloading it, giving it a listen to the words. But she says you can travel the world, but you can't run away from the person you are in your heart. And that was, I think, what I was doing, is I was running away from the person that I was. I was also running away a lot of times from the trouble that I had got myself into, the situations I had put myself into. I oftentimes just wanted to run away. And after my latest kind of failure, let down, the place where I was in chapter 1, I wanted to run away completely. I didn't want to be here anymore. I couldn't take the failure, the continuous mistakes over and over again, and that was it for me. So that's where I was. And she goes on to say, you can be who you want to be, make us believe in you, but you keep all your light in the dark. And I think that's the one thing for most of us. Most people keep their light in the darkness. Whatever it is you're good at, whatever it is you're great at, there's a reason you were given that ability, and that was to put it to good use. That was to transfer it and put it into the world and let the world see whatever it is. And there's a lot of self-help people will always say, you listen to Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk. He'll talk a lot of times about speaking with elderly and talking to them and asking them about life. And what they'll always say is that, he says in one of his videos, I wish. They'll say, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. And they can't, because their time has come. Their time is coming to a close, and they wish they did that. And that's where I was. I didn't want to get to that place. I didn't want to get to that point. If I'm lucky enough to get to that point, you can't keep whatever it is, and it's actually selfish of you to keep whatever it is you're good at, whatever story you might have, to keep it inside. It's a selfish thing to do. You might not want to do it because you don't want to step outside of your comfort zone, but that's where the growth happens. That's where we grow as individuals. That's where that's where we truly realize what it is we're capable of. And that for me was just, I knew the song had to be in my playlist. I knew it was part of my playlist because that's what I think so many of us don't do. So many of us want to do, but we can't do it. We don't do it. We won't do it. And you only get one shot. As I said in Chapter 7, Eminem's Lose Yourself, you get one life. You get one world. You get one opportunity. And before I get kind of into the next part and, to keep all your light in the dark and just be, the album says, just be who you are. And a good example of this is, I had gotten a good friend of mine, my friend Angelo Petrucci's been sharing my videos out. And the one thing that he did when, he fully put everything he had into what he wanted to do and he loved to do and he loved DJing. And he did something that I'm not gonna lie, I'm envious. But he followed his dream. He did his passion. Now, did he make a good career out of it? Is that what he's doing now in his life? No. But he took a chance on himself, his abilities. He went out. He learned everything that he could learn about in becoming a DJ. And he ended up actually opening for some of the biggest names in electronic dance out there. Marcus Schultz. I want to say Armin van Buuren, and one of the best ever in DJ Tiesto. In fact, I was at his performance when he opened for DJ Tiesto right here in Buffalo, New York. I mean, that is what this book is about, finding what it is, just being yourself and doing what it is you love to do. And I'm very thankful that in watching this, he kind of got back into what it is he loves to do, and he loves to DJ, and he loves to do that. And I'm very, no Armin though. Who was it? It was Marcus Schultz. I know that. I know it was obviously Tiesto, one of the number one DJs in the world. But that in and of itself, I mean, how many people can say that they opened for one of the biggest acts in the world in their hometown? And I'm very proud to say that I was there. I was very proud to say that he's a friend of mine, and that he just was himself. And kudos to you, and thank you for everything you've done for me, Ange. I love you like the brothers that we are, the people that we grew up with, very tight-knit group. And I appreciate everyone that's on here, but that is an example of just doing it, just being who you want to be. And he goes on in the song, she goes on to sing, if you're searching for truth, you must look in the mirror. And as we talked about in Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, you must look in the mirror. You must look in the mirror for the answers, because that is the only source. That's the only answer to the questions that you have. There's the list of everyone that my friend DJ Angelo Petrucci opened for. Not too bad of a list. If you're into electronic dance music, those are some of the biggest names in the 90s, 2000s, and even today. So congrats, my man. He did open for all of them. Unbelievable guy. So she says, if you're looking for truth, you must look in the mirror. And that is the one thing that we need to take away from this book. If anything, if you take nothing else, nobody is responsible for where you're at other than yourself. And for me, that was the toughest pill to swallow, is that nobody was responsible. I was the only person responsible for for accomplishing what I wanted to do in life. Nothing was going to come to me. My father told me as a kid when I was playing hockey that, and he would see me kind of waiting for the hockey puck. And I said this in a previous video, but I think it's relevant now, is that, and he would see me waiting for that puck to come to me, and he said to me, look at Matt, that you've got to go after that puck. You can't wait for it to come to you. And the same principle that applied in hockey from my father, it applies in life. If you want something bad enough, you've got to go and get it. And that's what that song did for me. That's what this song meant for me, is that life isn't going to come to you the way you want it to come to you. Sometimes you need to create the opportunities that you want in your life, and you need to make sense of what you can't see. Steve Jobs, in his commencement speech at Stanford, he talks about connecting the dots looking back. We can't connect the dots looking forward. We can't see what lies ahead of us. But if we look back, we'll make sense of it. If you reflect, and that's what I did in my darkest period, I was able to reflect back on the things and the mistakes that I had made and use that as a catalyst to propel me to where I'm at today, which is in front of you on Facebook, publishing my first book. Is it going to be a bestseller? I don't know. but it's something I want to do. So if there's something that you want to do, there's something that you want to do in life, some gift that you have that you want to utilize, you've got to do it now, because there's no guarantee of tomorrow. In the song, he says, she sings it, just be. Goes on to say, again, I told you guys today I'm going to go through, even if I only have one person on here, but I'm going to go through kind of this whole song because I couldn't use the lyrics in the book for copyright and intellectual property purposes. But she goes on to say that learning to love yourself is the first step that you take when you want to be real. And that is one of the biggest things, one of the biggest troubles I had was learning to love myself. I did everything for everyone else. I loved other people. He did. See, Angela would know that. That was the toughest thing for me. And for a lot of us, that is. For me, I was a yes man. I was a people person. I always still am. But I would go out of my way for other people, but I would always sell myself short. No pun intended, because if you know me, I am short. But that's the first step. You can't do anything else in life until you learn to love who you are, accept who you are, and then just be who you are. And that's what this song really, really says. She goes on, they go on to write, but flying on planes to exotic locations won't teach you how you really feel. And that's a lot of times what I want to do. I want to, and when things are bad or things are dark or things don't seem to make sense, sometimes you just want to run away. And I wanted to run away many times in my life. I didn't want to face the fact, and that's what they go on to say, is face up to the fact that you are who you are. And nothing can change that. Nothing can change who we are. And we need to do that. We need to love who it is we are. And I wasn't necessarily in love with who I was, what I was doing, and the impact that I was having. Now I absolutely love who I am. I love what I'm doing. I love the fact that I'm on here trying to help people out. And that is it. That is the message behind the book. That's the message behind the song. Just be who you are. How many of us, go out and we like to have a few drinks or have when we're in a crowd or we're in a situation that isn't necessarily friendly, how after a few drinks we're fine, right? We I need to have a couple of drinks before I get on the dance floor, this or that, when we really want to get on there, but we need that drink or two to loosen us up, because that relieves and loosens up our inhibitions. It allows us to just kind of be who we are without worrying about what everyone else thinks, right? How many can relate to that? I know I could. But it's not going to get you there. Just do it. So many of us don't do what it is that we want to do in life. We keep that light in the dark, and we need other things to kind of push us. We're afraid of actually who we are, and just being yourself, learning to love yourself. That's the first step in all of this. That's the first step in moving on in life. That's the first step in becoming your best self, your true self, who you really are. And that is what the book is about. It's about helping you find whatever it is your playlist. We're under so much pressure to provide for our families and be successful or whatever it is. And then we see people that are extremely successful and they're lucky. No, they found out what they were good at. They found out what they loved to do, and they went after it. And that's what I encourage people to do. I'm not saying to do what I did in life and walk away from a very good paying job when you're buying a house, your first house. No, I'm not saying don't, take my advice. Don't do it the way I did it, but we need to figure things out for ourselves. My message to you is that there's no guarantee. I was waiting for some day to come, and I was waiting for that perfect scenario, that right scenario, and that never happens until I just said, screw it, I'm going to make it happen. And that's what we need to do. So, again, this song, the final song, Just Be, is the culmination. It's the culmination of all the chapters, all the work, it's a culmination of my playlist that basically spoke to me and said, just be who you are and be comfortable with who you are. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person that that needs to love you. If you can't love yourself, if you can't be content in your own skin, comfortable in your own skin, then you're of no good to anyone else. And that's what I was. I wasn't comfortable in who I was. And I don't know why. I won't get into the specifics of the why, but I know that meeting with a counselor and talking to somebody and talking things through were huge for me. But this song is just a reminder that we need to just be who we are. Be comfortable with who you are and find out who you are, what it is you want to do, what you're capable of doing. And don't listen to what anyone else has to say. And I've said this before. And Les Brown, when he said it, and I listened to it, and it just made complete sense that what other people think of you is none of your business. And I consistently gave a shit, really, about what others thought. And you cannot. Because having that mentality is what kept me from keeping my story and keeping me from doing what I've always wanted to do, which is write and publish a book. And I'm living proof that I'm just like every one of you. And that, I did it. Again, am I going to be, on a New York Times bestseller? Who knows? Maybe. That would be awesome. But the fact that I did it, I did what I wanted to do. So people can read it, they can say, it's crap, it's garbage, I don't like it. It's fine. I wrote my book, I did what I wanted to do, I feel good about it, and my hope is that it helps somebody out along the way. I hope that somebody reads it and says, you know what, I can relate to that. I've been there. I've been in that situation. That's me. And my hope is that you find your own playlist. You develop your own playlist and figure out whatever it is, what your purpose in life is, what's your reason for being here, because there again, guys, you only get one shot at this thing called life. And if you don't do it now, there's no guarantee that tomorrow is going to happen. So now at this point in my life, when I didn't always used to do this, but every night I go to bed, I thank God for the day that I just had. I thank Him for all the things that I've been granted in my life, the amazing family, friends. I'm grateful, more grateful than I've ever been. And I think for a while there, I took a lot of things for granted. It's not that I wasn't grateful. It's not that I didn't love my family, my friends, and all that. But I was so focused on everything I didn't have because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And now here I am. I'm here speaking, what I feel is truth, and to everyone, that's out there listening. Maybe you like it. Maybe it makes sense to you. Maybe it doesn't. I got to that point. I just don't give a shit. And it's not that I don't care about other people. I don't mean that at all. But I couldn't, and you can't either care what other people think of you. You've got to be happy with who you are, what you're doing in life, and where you're going in life. And realize that it's nobody else's fault if you don't become that person that you want to become. If you don't do those things that you want to do. Because again, take it from a gentleman like Gary Vaynerchuk, who said in dealing and working with people, and Les Brown is one of the best motivational speakers on the planet. Or just go to a nursing home and speak to some folks who are in their later years, their golden years, that are going, down that final stage of life, and ask them about their life. And I think you'll hear that most of those folks would say, and they would talk about the things that they didn't do. Not the things that they regret doing, but the things that they wish they had done. And if we're so blessed to make it to that point, that we make it to our golden years, and we're able to get there, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're not living, and you're actually being selfish by not giving and putting to use what it is that you're given by, whatever God or creator that we have that you're capable of doing. For me, maybe this is it. Maybe it's talking to folks just like you, like I'm doing here today, and helping inspire you guys to do more and to believe more in yourself and what you're capable of. So that's what chapter 15 is all about. It says, she ends it, and Tiesto ends it by saying, because now I know it's not so far to where I go. The hardest part, it's inside me. I need to just be, and that's what we need. Everything, all the answers that we're seeking are inside of us. They're within each and every single one of us, and we need to look. And I use this, I say it often. I got it from one of my mentors, and that is that if you fail to go within, you will go without. If you fail to look inside of yourself, you will go without. And that just means that what's that, Dominic? You don't get old being a fool. No, that's right. Richard Pryor, one of the greatest comedians ever. But we need to look inside, and that we need to just be who it is that we need to be, and we need to be who we are. We need to be comfortable with who we are, and not care what anyone else thinks. Be comfortable being different, because we're all different. No two people are the same. No two people are alike. Every one of us is different. Every one of us has different skills. Every one of us has different qualities and characteristics that make us who we are. So I urge you guys in the final chapter of Find Your Playlist. Number one, I urge you when the book comes out, please just buy it, read it. It's not going to be that much. It's I think about 115 pages or so. It'll be a quick read. I think you'll be able to relate to it. And if you know anyone that's struggling in life, I think it is definitely something that people can look to and be able to relate to and say, well, if he did it, I can do it. And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be that person that says, I've been through more than him. I can do that. Something along those lines. I think that's what the book was written for. That's why I put it out there. Because there's going to be somebody that says, you know what, I can relate to that. And who can't relate to music? Every one of us can relate to music. And that's the whole idea behind the book, is to find your own playlist. You don't need to find mine. You're going to have a completely different playlist. But maybe it's going to be that playlist that you go to. You'll get it down. It's going to be that playlist that you go to when shit hits the fan, when shit gets real, when life gets overwhelming, whatever it is, right? So you got your playlist about when life really gets out of control. You might have your playlist, right? And that's why they came up with that term, playlist, for when you're at the gym and you need that motivation. This is my playlist for life. This was my playlist for get out of the funk that you're in. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Start realizing who you are and start doing more in life. And that is why I wrote the book. That's how the playlist got developed. That's why I decided to write this book, in hopes that there's somebody that can read this, that will read this book and say, well, if he did it, I can do it. Or that might read it and say, you know what, I need to come up with my playlist. And then they're having a down period in their life and they say, man, my playlist helped me out. Not mine, but yours. Maybe that's what helps you out. Music, again, guys, it's the one thing that transcends race, social status, ethnicity, any walk of life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't care who you are, where you're from, what color you are, what your religion is. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter. And it speaks to all of us. Hans Christian Andersen's quote, he says in there that when words fail, music speaks. And music spoke to me. Music speaks to you. It speaks to all of us. And that is why I wrote this book. And again, guys, it's going to be out somewhere in the time frame of end of March, beginning of April. So please do check it out. I've actually just started a Find Your Playlist Facebook page. So if you want to go on there, I'm going to invite every one of my friends. So you're going to get one from me whether you like it or not. But you can just search for that, and I'll be including kind of pictures from the photo shoots, the cover, and that'll be just a platform for anyone to bounce any sort of ideas or any causes or concerns that you might have. Maybe you develop your own playlist, you want to put it out there for other people. Whatever it is, it's just an open forum. You can go on that page and do whatever. As of right now, it's just in the beginning stages, but I'll be starting to put more info about the release date and all that stuff on there. I want to thank everyone that came on, not only today's live, but all the other lives. I urge you, I would appreciate that if you did watch this, if you're watching this recorded, if you share it out, maybe that somebody needs to hear whatever it is that I had to say today. So again, everyone, Anthony, I love you. Hello. I appreciate everyone who came on. I appreciate all the comments. I will get back and respond to all the comments as I've done on every other live video. We will continue on with our regular moments of motivation coming on Monday, and we'll get back into just some just life topics or my thinking going forward. I'm not sure how it's going to play out. If people have songs that they would like that they put in their playlist and they want me to kind of go over during a live session, and we can see how many people actually relate to your songs, that's up to you. So really, we're going to try and keep it rolling. I want to be that sounding board for people. I want you to come in and say, look, I've got this going on, let's talk about it. And I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but maybe we can relate it to something. Maybe there'll be somebody else that comments or drops a comment that can relate to whatever it is. So my idea and the theme here is just keep people motivated, keep people inspired. Do you. You know, my cousin Tommy Okino is doing big things out for Facebook in California, and he said to me, and he always told me, do you, cuz, do you. So my advice to you guys is to do you. Mark Vogel, thanks for jumping on, brother. long time. You'll appreciate the last couple chapters. We probably had a good time to a few of them. So that's my advice to everyone, is that to just do you, be you, whatever it is you're good at, you want to do in life, try and do it now, because there's no guarantee of tomorrow. We need to just be comfortable in our own self. We need to just be ourself, hence the chapter and the title of today. Again, guys, moving forward, we'll see where it goes, but it's my plan and my hope is that it's going to be an inspirational moment for you every day. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, brother. That's what I want to bring to the table. That's what I want to bring to everyone out here, everyone that's watching, and continue to encourage everyone to be their best self, to do more, to be more, to expect more of yourself. And the catalyst for everything in life is the thought. Everything that we see on this planet at some point was a thought in somebody's mind. That's where it all starts from. And that's why I get in to do coaching. That's why I'm a mindset coach, because once you can change how you think, and I changed exactly how I thought. I thought everything was negative, everything in life was negative, and now I've completely altered that. I'm not going to say that negative thoughts don't come in. They do. They always will. We need to learn and rewire our brain and retrain our brain to not let those things take up rent in our mind, and that's what it is. If I can change the way you think, I can change your life. If you change the way you think, you can change your life. But you first need to do, like it said in the last chapter here, you need to just be. You need to just believe in yourself. You need to look inside yourself for those answers, because chances are, as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, when the question arrives, the answer is always near, and that answer is within each and every one of us. I'll leave you with one final thing before we leave today, and I've mentioned it before, that a lot of times, and when I say you need to look in to yourself, you need to experience life, you need to do things for yourself. And I'll say it often, is that I can give you a book 100 pages thick on how to ride a bike. You could score 100 on that test on how to ride a bike. But if you've never ridden or rode a bike before, just because you've read that book doesn't mean that you'll know how to ride that bike. You actually have to get on that bike to learn how to ride it. So if you want to understand yourself, you need to look inside of yourself to figure out some of those answers that you might have for yourself. And that's what I mean by going within you. You're going to need to experience, you need to do some introspection and look into your inside yourself for those answers. My aunt is saying that my encouragement is working. It worked for my cousin Alana. She tried out. She made the lacrosse team. So congratulations to my cousin Alana. She did something that she really wanted to do, and that's what I encourage everyone to do. Step outside of your comfort zone, and you'll start to realize what exactly you are capable of doing. Do something every day that you have. When's the last time, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but when is the last time that you did something for the first time? We get so comfortable, guys. This is our one life, our one shot to do and experience it. So, again, I'm going off. I'm a very long-winded person. I could talk for days, so I'm going to try and finish up right here. But step outside of your comfort zone. Be comfortable in who you are. Love yourself. But, again, step outside of yourself from time to time. If you're looking for answers, look inside yourself, because chances are you've already got the answer. You need to just believe in yourself, in your ability. You need to believe in who you are. You need to love who you are. So, guys, I'm going to end it on that note, the notes from the song Just Be. And that is that, we need to face up to the fact that you are who you are, and nothing can change that. So just be yourself, guys. That's all I got for you today. This is the last chapter that we're going to discuss on Find Your Playlist. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you can message me. You can shoot them in the comments below. Everyone, I want to thank everyone for watching these. Have a great weekend. Have a good Saturday. We'll be back on Monday with some more motivational stuff. So, guys, God bless you all. Have a great weekend. I am out.